They are simply the most beautiful bird on the planet. They are spectacular. Not only visually, but their soft coos, the noises that they make. They are so romantic, enchanting, and as you can tell, I'm absolutely besotted with them. I'm Dean Arthurell. I'm the director at Carnaby's Crusaders, which is a not-for-profit dedicated to all things black cockatoos in Western Australia. We have 3 species of black cockatoos in southwest of Western Australia. The one that we focus on here are the Carnabys. They are found from north of Kalbarri to east of Esperance. They breed in certain areas, which we are in one of them. We are surrounded by breeding pairs of Carnabys at the moment. They're a large black and white cockatoo. They're loud, gregarious, and they are just beautiful. These birds are a semi-migratory species. So they move into the wheat belt and other breeding areas, and then they move back into wintering areas, which is the Swan Coastal Plain and largely Perth. That landscape has changed dramatically over the last 200 years. So what used to be their food bowl is now suburbia. So they're finding it harder and harder every day to basically scratch out a living and survive. The main driver of population decline is essentially lack of habitat through land clearing and deforestation. We've seen Banksia woodland disappear across the Perth landscape quicker than ever before, despite the fact that Banksia woodland is a federally protected ecological habitat. We are in Bindoon, which is in the Shire of Chittering. We're about 45 minutes north of Perth. Our property sits on what was part of an old sheep station. Today it's a bit of beautiful Wandoo woodland. When we moved out, unfortunately, one of the first things that I did was hit a galah, and I needed to find somewhere to take it. So I joined the local wildlife club as a result of that interaction and became fairly entrenched in kind of wildlife rescue from there in. Within the wildlife club, there was a gentleman there that was fabricating these strange black artificial hollows. So I was like a moth to the flame. I really wanted to understand what he was doing. I knew that we had black cockatoos active in the area. So, of course, I took one home and started tinkering with artificial cockatoo hollows. I placed the cockatoo tube in the single largest tree that we had on the property and learnt over the course of 2 years that every creature under the sun came and looked at it, went inside it, checked it out, but nothing bred in it. So I then relocated that artificial tube into a more secluded location and found that we had a pair of Carnabys within 6 weeks. And that particular hollow has actually produced, I think, 5 Carnabys over the course of the last 7 or 8 years. Our first success back in 2018 obviously really lit the fire. We started adding more artificials every year onto our home property, literally to the point where we were asked by several other wildlife members to install on their property. We were that busy that we decided to take a leap of faith and leave work full-time and basically pursue this as a full-time operation. And then it snowballed and grew from there to the point now where we actually have about 550 artificials up across Western Australia. Their bread and butter is MARRI, Corymbia calophylla, honky nut as we know as kids, Banksia, Hakea and Grevillea, all very important food species for these guys. They're a bird with a large beak and they're capable of getting into hard capsuled fruit, and they largely don't have to compete with many other species because of that beak. We've planted several food species across our property, some of which are more notable, probably Hakea francisiana, which the birds arrive for every year and devour. What's interesting about the Hakea francisiana is the seed pods are very, very hard. When they crack them open, it sounds like a clicking noise. So it sounds like there's a whole bunch of people with Spanish canisters in the fire break, because when 20 or 30 birds arrive and eat at the same time, it's just click, 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 click. So yeah, it's quite magic to watch and listen to. Over the last kind of 4 or 5 years, our role within that conservation landscape has changed quite dramatically, and it's largely been driven by the general public's thirst for information. So along with the artificial hollow installation, we do lots of school visits. We talk to lots of students across Western Australia. We visit land care centres and any other groups that are really willing to learn about what they can do to improve outcomes for black cockatoos. Whether it's becoming an advocate, planting food in their garden, or putting up artificial hollows on their property to support black cockatoos. Doing what I do, people are aware of, obviously, the fact that we look after cockatoos as well. In that pet keeper's landscape, they are quite accessible. So from time to time, when people realise that these birds are very high needs, they're high maintenance, that they don't make great pets, they don't have the skill set to be rehabbed and released, we are sometimes asked to take on those birds as rehomes or rescues, if you like. Our infrastructure has grown quite significantly and it's taking up more and more space. We obviously want to provide the optimum accommodation for our beautiful birds, of which we have about 110 currently.
Yeah, Jamie. There you go.
So they started arriving 5 or 6 years ago and they haven't stopped.
Come on. Good boy. There you go.
Some of our tame and interactive birds serve as our educational birds. They are ambassadors for the species, and their capacity to drag people in and captivate them and make them aware of the plight of these birds is really key and critical to what we do. People fall in love with them at the drop of the hat. When they see them up close, the first comment is, "Oh my God, I didn't realise how big they are, but how beautiful they are as well." So we like to harness the power of these beautiful birds, and they're a great way to recruiting people to the cause. So Jedda is a forest red-tailed black cockatoo, native to the southwest of WA. Jedda is about 2.5 years old, and Jedda is probably my main educational bird. As you see, he's very comfortable with the limelight and being handled. He's probably visited 100 schools in the last couple of years. A few years ago, I lost my brother to depression. I didn't realise that at the time, but ever since I've been trying to save every other thing in my life. And this has been a really positive way to kind of channel that. I've learnt a lot from other people that have been willing to share their knowledge in the black cockatoo space. I'm also a studying arborist at the moment, but yeah, anything that I can learn about these beautiful birds is fuel for me. Having 15 pairs of endangered Carnabys arrive and breed on your property, that's certainly success as far as I'm concerned. In a very small footprint, we're having a dramatic impact. And if we extrapolate that out to the landscape across Western Australia, and we look at the regions that we're working across, over the last 4 years, we've actually fledged 200 endangered Carnabys out of our artificials, which I think is a pretty good result for a little not-for-profit. We work for the birds. The birds don't pay much, but we love what we do. And that role, as far as keeping the West Australian public informed, is really, really important. People want to know what they can do, how they can contribute, and this is a great way that we can keep people engaged, keep people informed, and have an impact and make a real difference.